Welcome to U Version 2 podcast with me, your host, Brendan McCauley. And today we have a very special guest, Wayne Dawson. Wayne, would you like to tell our audience something about yourself?
Thank you, Brendan. It is indeed my pleasure. You are having an afternoon, and I'm in Florida, USA, so it's morning for me still. So, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Brendan, I had the occasion during the course of the last several years of working for a corporate company, corporate America, and realized that I was giving and doing so much for the wealth and benefits and growth of somebody else's dream. So I made the decision over a year ago to fire corporate America and work for myself. And so I'm a life coach right now. I do mindset work with men. My area of expertise is to work with men of color who have had a history of oftentimes unequal opportunities in the United States. And so I work with men who are going through crisis or avoiding crisis in terms of life transitions around career,
Mhm.
around relationships, and around their health. Uh, so my name is Wayne Dawson, as I shared, and I just love what I do. I'm married, have four grown adult children at this point, and was born in the sunny Isle of Jamaica.
Fantastic. Fantastic. What a fantastic life purpose to have, Wayne, to be able to help those people that you just mentioned. Because the more of us out there who want to help others, well, then it surely should make the world a happier place bit by bit. So thank you so much for joining us today, and it's indeed our pleasure to have you with us. We'd love to learn from your experiences and if you share your journey with our audience. So, just as a little disclaimer, as you know, this interaction is about happiness, your personal life experiences, and thus events may come up during our discussion. Please allow them to flow. If you're not comfortable sharing with others, of course, we can remove them from the broadcast.
I'm very transparent. It's okay. Thank you.
So please relax and let's enjoy this moment together. So, you mentioned a bit about yourself and what your current purpose is now. Could you tell us what Wayne enjoys doing aside from what you
Absolutely.
told us?
Absolutely. Family. Uh, I am very family oriented. I have always been. Uh, I tell a story in terms of my journey called From the Beach to the Boardroom, because born in Jamaica, of humble beginnings. But my superpower was my family. My father and my mother were married for, I think, 46 years before dad passed
Beautiful.
suddenly from a massive heart attack. He died on her lap. And, I have two sisters who are older than I am. And what we knew was the support from family. The platform on which I work and live my life is called VIP, and it doesn't stand for very important persons. For me, VIP represents values, identity, and purpose. So my organization is called VIP Transformative Living, and I use those standing principles to drive my life. Um, I came out of Jamaica, as I shared, and at a very tender age, I got into the business of being an entrepreneur, setting up all-inclusive resorts throughout the Caribbean, and came back to the United States, immigrated to the United States in my early 20s or late 20s, and went to college and got my degrees there. I have
Hmm.
a bachelor's in social work. I'm sorry, a master's in social work and a bachelor's in psychology, and have worked across the spectrum in non for profit and in corporate America, just giving and serving people.
Yeah, what
And
a
so,
fantastic wealth of
thank you.
experience you've gained from that. So, let's get into the content of our discussion today. And this can mean many things to different people. But, Wayne Dawson, what does happiness mean to you?
Happiness is joy, it's fulfillment, it's peace of mind, it's being able to not just receive, but to have the grace of giving. And so, it's having a life without regrets. And that's very difficult, but it's about being able to live in the now and to live wholefully and wholesomely, in my mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fantastic. And could you recall the last time you were really, really happy?
every morning. My wife gets up, she kisses me, she goes off to work, and we have a practice where we have a moment where we give gratitude to each other. This is something we incorporated several months ago. So, if you are busy being grateful, you hardly leave a space for being unhappy. And so this morning, my wife got out before I did to go to work. And I called her on the ride and asked her, I said, "Hey, honey, what are you grateful for?" And we did it for each other. So that starts my day right.
What a fantastic tip. That's something we could all implement in our lives immediately. I'd certainly align with the, start your day with an attitude of gratitude. I would, as soon as I jump out of bed, just say thank you. Because we've so many things to be thankful for. The fact we had a good night's sleep on a comfortable bed, that's a start. Never mind the multitude of other things. So that's
The
fantastic.
fact that we woke up.
Exactly. So the fact that that's, as you say, every day, but that's something you find a way to realize happiness in such a simple way every day. Whereas when I ask the question to some people, depending on where they are at in their lives, they'll say, "Oh, I was really happy when X happened or Y happened or this." So it's that a different perspective. Um, would you say that our own personal happiness or happiness, that experience of happiness, can fade away with time?
Well, yes, I find that in many instances, when people age, when they get older, they, unlike children who are inquisitive and eager to try new things and are not yet indoctrinated with fear, we learn fear and we get bored. And so many people judge their happiness on things, the things outside of themselves, what they acquire, how they look, status quo. We're in an age now where social media creates a lot of unhappy people. Why? Because we have a lot of false realities being posted, people that are filtered, people that are showing a false self, and others comparing themselves with that. And so I think, unfortunately, because as we get older, oftentimes folks start moving away from what really matters, the core values, core beliefs, core sense of self. They move to this imposter feeling, and it's very difficult to remain happy. And that's what happens oftentimes when you lose the innocence of youth.
Yeah, it is. Happiness is something, a friend, a colleague, actually, I met him in Toastmasters. He started a sort of a campaign in life of happy drips. So if we're constant little drips of happiness in our life, then it should never fade away because we're constantly getting topped up again.
Yes.
um, so the the elusive question of who am I? If we met at a dinner party or at a barbecue, we might introduce ourselves and say, "Who am I?" And "Oh, I'm Brent McCauley. I work in the construction industry," or whatever. Depending on how we perceive ourselves in our lives. If I was to ask Wayne Dawson the question to finish the sentence, "I am," with examples of who you are, could you define Wayne Dawson with "I am"?
Yes, I think so. I am a man who has a mission to serve others. I believe all men should have, by way of their birthright, a life of fulfillment, significance, and security. And so my job and who I am is to bring that about with the people that I meet. I think when I meet people, I should leave them feeling bigger, better, and bolder about themselves.
Fantastic. And a fantastic way to leave people feeling better about themselves, that's for sure. They'll go away remembering their conversation with Wayne, that would be for sure. Would what would you to achieve that? Obviously, we need to focus on certain things in our lives. And what would you want to devote your time, energy, and money upon for our future being? You're probably maybe already in it, but
For myself, you mean, or for others?
for whatever works for Wayne.
I believe that by touching lives on a daily basis, that if I can capture the essence of my being, what I am, be a light to others in terms of helping them to find that sense of fulfillment, then I believe that I can be an impactful uh, piece of the world being better. It sounds a little cliche. So if I could spend my time learning and having a very intimate relationship with myself so I can be the best me ever, if I could do that, then I think it will bleed into the folks around me, the world around me, and that would be, I think, a life well spent.
Absolutely. It's an interesting point of discussion, as is the fact that people would be suggesting, oh, you no, you need to think about, don't be focusing on yourself and all these sorts of things, but we need to focus on us, because if we have us right, then we're in a good position mentally, spiritually, physically to help others. Because if I don't look after myself and my health, well, how can I provide for my family by carrying out a job or whatever service that we want to provide? And as you said, described it there, once we focus on ourselves and develop ourselves, then that can bleed into others, and others can pick up on that, and that ultimately feeds the network and helps change the lives of many others. So it's a
Yes,
fantastic thing to devote time and
Brendan,
energy.
I'm reminded that each time I travel, I get on a flight, and you must know that our friends who are listening who have traveled, they know that the intercom on a flight says when the air pressure, should it happen to go down, the first thing you do, even if you're traveling with children, is to put the mask, the oxygen mask, on yourself. You have
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
resuscitate yourself, save yourself before you're any good to anybody else.
Absolutely. I've thought about that at times, but it makes sense. Look after yourself, then you can help others. So
Yes, yes.
it's a very important point. Um, when we're talking about general things around happiness and our personal well-being, but Wayne, do you actually worry about anything these days? Would you worry about things? Is there things that worry you?
Oh, absolutely. But I find that worry is really a waste of time. It's like fear, because worry oftentimes, like fear, is about a projected idea of something to come. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
we have as they say, fear is false expectations or evidence appearing real. It's our projection of something, perhaps the worst of it, that may occur at the end of our doing something else. And oftentimes there is no truth to it, but we build this up. And so what worry does is it takes away the energy, redirects the energy that can be used to resolve issues, an energy that can be used to actually uh, to remove the fear or the false evidence that we have in our head, because it's a mind game. It's really about mind setting and resetting our minds, Brendan. I think that we worry about things, and at the end of it, we said, "Oh man, if I knew that this was all there was to it, I would have moved earlier, or I would have not done this, wasted our time."
yeah,
But I worry. I worried like everybody else. I mean, the state of the economy right now in the United States, very inflated. The situation in terms of the war that's happening in Europe, it has me worried somewhat. But what I try to do is understand that if it's out of my direct control, then I need not worry because I can't change what I can't control.
exactly. Very true. Very true. I like the false evidence appearing real anagram. I think I heard Jim Rohn also saying those sorts of things, and I like listening to podcasts and speaks to remind me to let's not worry about life, and as you say, focus on the things you can have an impact on, and change. As a result of things that go on around us that sometimes we're concerned about or worry, what would you do to seek comfort or solace or relax?
I spend, I'm in Florida and I have the advantage of having right through my window when I get up in the morning is still lake. It's a man-made
Beautiful.
lake, and there are ducks on the lake and swans on the lakes and birds in the trees. And I'm a nature guy. I was born in Jamaica. Jamaica is a land of wood and water. It's beautiful.
Mm.
And And so I take advantage of that. And so oftentimes what I do is I try to stay physically fit. I work out several times a week. And so if I can't get to the gym, I set up at home and do things at home. And then there's the idea of mindfulness, where I get totally immersed in something that entices me to want to do more, to be hopeful. Start with affirmations. I believe in that. I believe in, there's a power in words. And every time you say I am, you asked me the question earlier about, how do you define yourself? Everything that comes after I am is powerful, because you
Yep.
can realize and manifest whatever that is. So if you're going to say I am, make sure it's something positive. And so with affirmations, I keep that reminder. And whenever I'm worried, I try to get back on path with that. Besides, like I said, I share my life with a wonderful life partner, my love, my wife, Audrey. And she doesn't get me too far gone before she helps to redirect me as well, in terms
Yeah,
of,
yeah. Good to sort of hold on, come back, focus.
yes, sir.
You're okay. It'll be okay. Fantastic. I have to say nature is a fantastic thing to help us to relax and to be at we not to say be at one with nature, but when we do, there's something quite amazing about it. And where I currently live now, I'm surrounded by a bit of a forest and various things. And when you just go out and listen to the birds, as you say, in the morning, or it's a blue sky or whatever, just to be at peace instead of the hustle and bustle of a city, because that can just take our attention, distraction. And when we just pause, as you say, meditate on the silence or on a thought or affirmation, whatever it is, it's something amazing about nature. It's fantastic, as you say, that you're able to. Also, water is something that we as humans seem to have a affinity towards, whether it's a canal, a river, a lake, the sea. I love the sea personally. I love it. Could spend all day swimming and diving in it and having fun.
Beautiful.
So the you mentioned some things there, where you get solace or relax, and I think before you mentioned about family. That's a very powerful thing in your life. So what would you derive particular joy, pleasure, happiness, or fulfillment? Is there any particular things
That I do.
that give Wayne that
Yeah.
experience?
Yeah, I haven't gone recently to play golf, but I enjoy going to the range and getting some shots on. Um, I read a lot. I'm a voracious reader. During the course of COVID, I had to build me some additional bookshelves, because every week I had our delivery system dropping off boxes here, and there were books. And I spend a lot of time studying, and a lot of these books are around, my field, which is coaching others up, but also around psychology, around NLP, neuro linguistic programming, around helping people find their inner strength and their highest level of performance and
Yeah,
selfhood. So I'm a true believer in maximizing the human potential, for the betterment of mankind. And so I spend a lot of time doing that. And believe me, I talk to one member of my family every day. I am feeling right now the need to pick up the phone when we're done and to share this experience with my children. My wife knew that I was waiting to talk to you this morning, and I have two sisters. One lives in Canada, the other still lives in Jamaica. And I'm happy to call them and speak with them on a regular basis. So family for me is just such an important, resounding part of my happiness.
yeah, absolutely. The did I mention that I'm the second oldest of a family of 14 siblings?
Yes, you did. Yes, yes, you did.
So it would take me 2 weeks to go through to get to the next one if I ran one each day. But yeah, it's amazing. And even whenever social connections came up, the likes of WhatsApp, and then families are creating WhatsApp groups. We ended up communicating more in that mode sometimes than picking up the phone in an old school way. But it is fantastic to connect with certainly family and friends, because when you do, the conversation goes down paths you maybe don't expect, and you come off that going, "Geez, I'm glad I actually made that call."
Yeah,
And it doesn't take much effort.
yes, Brendan, we must realize how important, how short life is. If nothing else, COVID taught us that, because a lot of us had friends, and some of us ourselves, we have had these dreams, but we've been afraid to get started. We keep saying tomorrow, tomorrow. We postpone getting started. The fear of even success, not
Yeah.
just failure, stops us from getting things done. But how many of us that are listening to this call has had someone, whether a family or a friend or a neighbor, that died without notice in the last 2 years? I'm sure everybody has known at least one person. And so we didn't get to say goodbye
Yeah.
necessarily. And so it's so important that we touch base with folks, as we say, give them their flowers while they're alive. And even if you just have to call people for Father's Day or Mother's Day or Christmas, just make that call. Make that
Hmm.
call. Stay in touch.
Just do it. Yep. There's no time like the present. Um, for a man like yourself, I don't feel confident asking you the question, but I'll ask it anyway.
Sure.
Are you living the life you choose for yourself, or is it someone else's ideal?
No, like I shared, I fired corporate America. I have had, so I lived in New York, leaving Jamaica. I started in Jamaica. It started at a young age to be an entrepreneur. And after traveling for a while, decided to come back. I promised my father before he passed, actually, that I would go to school, because I had intended initially to write a book, How to Be a Millionaire in Success and Be Successful Without a College Degree. But then I came back to the United States and lived in New York and did get a college degree and got a graduate degree as well.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you, for many years, I ran flagship sites at organizations that I worked with. And I said to myself, if they could pay me this and honor my services, then I must be worth something.
Yeah.
And so it was for me, and the last company I worked with, Corporate America, they recently took on another company, and they laid off a bunch of folks, a lot of my peers. And we were I was getting up wondering, is my name going to be next? Well, I was saved. But before that even happened, I said to my wife, I have had a vision board for some time in my house. And I've always had it saying, I'm going to do this. And I've done bits and parts of it, Brendan. But I said to my wife, it is time. And she gave me permission. My family gave me permission. They're like, go out and do you. And so I
Yeah.
fired corporate America. I resigned, walked away from a six-figure income job, and decided to live my dream on my terms. And like I said, I like Cortez, I've burnt the ships in the harbor. There is no retreat. This is what I do every day on my account. I live on my terms for the most part, and I'm enjoying it, no regrets.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. No regrets. They were two words I said to my wife when we decided to get married.
You better have.
So it's been fantastic having a conversation with you, Wayne, and hearing about your life experience. And it's inspirational, to be honest with you, listening to you. And I love the fact that you took that leap of faith to leave corporate America to pursue your life purpose, which is helping others, helping other coloured men that you can connect with, and it's a fantastic objective. So I certainly wish you well in that. I would like to ask a few simple questions. You can call it a quick fire round, so to speak. Three simple questions, and you can give me short answers, or you can
Yes, sir.
develop on that if you want. So, Wayne Dawson, what are you grateful for today?
Today, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be talking with you so that we can share ideas, so that we can expose our concept of happiness and health and wellness to others. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for just getting up this morning and being able to say, aha.
Absolutely. Are your relationships going well?
They are. I try, I am not one of those guys who can't say I'm sorry and can't reach back. And so, where I think I have marred or hurt people along the way, I have always picked up the phone or sent a text or an email just to say, hey, I'm sorry. And so I think
Yeah,
for the folks that I have in my life now, in my circle, I think I can call anybody anytime and would be received. Nobody would screen my call out.
fantastic. That's the ancient text says, "Don't let the sun go down without apologizing. Don't go to bed with anger." Finally, I think I could answer this one for you. But how are you making the world better?
How am I making the world better? I'm hoping, Brendan, that through my example, I work with men like I shared with you, and uh, I oftentimes hear from men and women that they are very inspired by the relationship that I have with my children as a father and as a spouse with my wife. And to be honest, I I work out a lot, and sometimes I videotape these not to show off, but just to say I'm 60 years old in a few months. And I like to say that aging doesn't mean you have to get worse at anything. In
Mm,
fact, for men who are entering midlife, the second half can be better and should be better. And we don't have to believe that aging causes us to be decrepit or to get worse. It's a false and limited belief. And so I I truly I think that I'm an example, but the work that I do drives me every day. The fact that I can touch people. For many years, my specialty and focus was youth development. So
hmm
I have over 20 years of youth development working with adolescents and youth to help them be a better self. I've transitioned, even though I still work with youth, as a mentor in many ways and do public speaking around those circles.
hmm
But right now, I put a lot more emphasis on working with men, men that are feeling stuck, men that are asking the question, what is next for me? How
Yeah,
can I
yeah.
get to the next level?
And there's plenty of us out there, Wayne. There's plenty of us out there. So where can we find Wayne Dawson? Where can we find
Sure,
you online? Tell
sure.
us more
To
about you.
make life very easy, uh, if you go to my website, VIP transformativeliving.com. You'll see all my handles for Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm big on
hmm
LinkedIn right now, and I have a Facebook page which is VIP Transformative Living LLC. Um, I'm everywhere, and again, VIP Transformative Living.com. On that page, you can book a call with me, what I call a discovery call. My calendar is there. And
hmm
that discovery call will allow me to see how we can help each other. I will take a chance with you, if you'll take a chance with me, to just look at what's blocking you, where you want to be, where you are now, and help you fill that gap.
Fantastic. Because I have to say, with the audience here, it's worth checking out Wayne's work because it's inspirational, it's motivational, and it's simple and effective that we can implement in our lives immediately to have an immediate impact. So if we can impact people's lives in a simple way, in a real way, I think it's a fantastic and positive thing. So just as a wrap up, Wayne, it's been an absolute pleasure to have a fruitful conversation with you. I've learned things today, and hopefully from sharing together and our audience, they can learn something as well. So I definitely look forward to having another chat with you in the future. So Wayne, from here in Italy, goodbye for now. Ciao for now.
Ciao. And just one last plug, if I may, an email that will get you immediately to me is Wayne Dawson. That's Wayne. My last name Dawson at transformativeliving.com. That's my email. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Brendan McCauley. Thank you so much, sir. It's been my esteemed pleasure and honor to be with you and your audience. Thank
As
you.
they do in Toastmasters.
Yes, sir. Bye bye.
Thank
Ciao.
you.